Okay, welcome to the deep dive. We're taking a look at a really interesting source today. It's an article from Cognitive Market Research.
Right. The title is How Market Research Helped Mailchimp Evolve from Email to All-in-One Marketing Platform.
Exactly. And it's a fascinating case study, isn't it? Because Mailchimp, well, lots of people know them. They started as that straightforward email tool for small businesses.
Yeah, that friendly little chimp logo sending out newsletters. Very familiar.
But the marketing landscape, especially for those small and medium businesses, SMBs, it changes so fast. Their needs are constantly evolving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this article really unpacks how Mailchimp wasn't just sort of reacting to change. They were actively using market research to drive their own evolution.
Strategic market research was basically the engine behind it all.
That's the core message, yeah.
So our mission here in this deep dive is to pull out the key insights from this source. We want to understand the playbook, really. How did Mailchimp use market research? What did they actually find out?
And how did those findings translate into, product changes, customer support, even looking ahead?
Right. It's all about understanding how listening to your users in the market can, well, fundamentally shape a company.
It really shows the power of that approach. Understanding this example can be super valuable for anyone trying to build something that lasts.
Okay, so let's jump in. The article starts naturally at the beginning. Mailchimp, email for SMBs. What was the initial big problem their research uncovered?
Well, they were doing the email thing well, but the foundational research, it pointed to a major pain point beyond just email. Basically, small business owners were feeling overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed by email volume or something else.
Something else. It was the fragmentation. They were juggling just too many different platforms.
Ah, okay. So not just Mailchimp, but other tools too.
Exactly. They needed one thing for social media, maybe another for segmenting customers in more detail, another platform for running, say, Google ads or Facebook ads.
Wow, yeah. One tool here, another there. That sounds like a recipe for inefficiency.
Totally. And the research really captured that frustration. People felt like they were spending more time just switching between apps than actually doing the marketing work. It was clunky, inefficient, and frankly, pretty stressful for them.
Okay, so Mailchimp identifies this fragmentation pain. What specific insights did they gather next that really pushed them to think, okay, we need to be more than just email?
Well, they used a mix of things. Their own internal surveys were key, plus looking at broader industry trends.
What did that confirm?
It confirmed that this feeling wasn't just, a few anecdotes. SMBs were actively looking for ways to consolidate. They wanted tools that could handle more marketing tasks but were still easy to pick up and manage. Basically, less effort, more impact.
Less effort is always the dream for a small business owner, right? They wear so many hats.
Absolutely. And they went deeper. Research methods like customer interviews and actually tracking how people behaved within the Mailchimp platform.
So watching what features they used, where they clicked.
Yeah, that kind of thing. It highlighted this really strong desire for better automation, setting things up to run automatically and for more intuitive design across the whole experience. And critically, a single place to manage all their different marketing channels.
A unified access point makes sense. If I send an email campaign, I might want to follow up with a social post or target ads to people who didn't open. Doing that in 5 different places sounds like a headache.
Exactly. And the article makes it really clear these insights weren't just like interesting data points. They directly led to a major strategic pivot. Mailchimp decided, okay, we need to fundamentally rethink our product roadmap.
With the specific goal of
Slashing that fragmentation friction, bringing all these core marketing activities together under one roof.
So the research didn't just spot the problem, it really defined the solution. Consolidation and simplicity.
And what's really key here, according to the source, is that this wasn't a one-time thing. Market research wasn't just the spark. It became this ongoing cycle. It kept feeding their innovation strategy.
Right, a continuous feedback loop.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where it gets really practical. How did that constant research actually shape the features they built? What did it tell them users needed or wanted?
The product teams were always looking at direct customer feedback, seeing how people actually used beta features, early versions, and keeping an eye on those trend reports. This helped them zero in on what new tools would genuinely make a difference.
Can you give some examples from the article? What specific needs came through?
Yeah, the data pointed towards a need for automation that was powerful but still, simple to use. Also, better ways to segment their audience, not just basic email lists, but based on behavior or demographics, and visual tools for mapping out marketing workflows without needing a tech background.
Okay. And Mailchimp's response was,
Well, that led directly to developing things like their customer journey builder, those visual maps where you can plan out automated sequences.
right, drag and drop style.
Exactly. And features like smart content suggestions using AI and more advanced AI-driven tools for segmenting audiences. It was all about making sophisticated marketing techniques more accessible.
Ah, so the user need for less effort and better targeting gets translated directly into AI, helping with content creation and finding the right audience segments. That fits perfectly.
It does. And the research also flagged the growing importance of mobile-first thinking, designing for phones, and, crucially, integrating social media much more tightly.
So users weren't just operating in an email bubble anymore.
Not at all. The response there was actually building native tools inside Mailchimp for creating, managing, and tracking Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns.
Oh, wow. So you wouldn't have to leave Mailchimp to run social ads.
Exactly. The article highlights this allowed users to run multi-channel campaigns without constantly switching apps. It was a direct hit against that fragmentation problem they identified early on.
Bringing social ads right into the core platform. Makes sense.
And there was another really fundamental insight from their research. A lot of their users, especially in the smallest businesses, didn't have formal marketing training. They were often the business owner, the admin, the marketer, all rolled into one.
That's a huge realization. If your users aren't marketing experts, just giving them powerful tools isn't enough. They need help using them effectively.
Precisely. So Mailchimp's response went beyond just adding features. They made a significant investment in education and resources. That insight about users maybe lacking formal training. It directly led to things like providing guidance right inside the app, running webinars, and creating the Mailchimp Academy.
So the research showed the need wasn't just for the tool, but also for the knowledge and confidence to use it well.
Yeah, it shaped the whole ecosystem around the product.
Which brings up a good point. Did this research focus only affect the product and education? Or did it also influence how they, say, supported customers day to day?
Oh, absolutely. The article makes it very clear that research heavily influenced how Mailchimp engaged with users after they signed up, especially around support.
How so?
Well, building on that insight that SMB marketers often lack dedicated tech support or big teams, Mailchimp made a strategic choice. They prioritized building a customer support system that wasn't just there, but was responsive, easy to access, and importantly, educational.
Educational support, meaning
Meaning they understood users might need help with a marketing strategy question, like how should I structure this campaign?
yeah,
Not just a technical glitch like why isn't this button working?
right, two very different kinds of help needed.
Exactly. And they analyzed things like user satisfaction scores and the types of questions coming into support. They learned that users really valued quick, helpful answers, but also liked being able to find solutions themselves as possible.
Okay, so what did they do based on that understanding?
They expanded support options. Things like adding more robust live chat, making their online help articles, the knowledge base, much easier to search and navigate, building community forums so users could help each other out, and creating video tutorials aimed at different skill levels.
Giving people choices for getting help, basically.
Yeah, making it easy, however you prefer to get support. And the article also mentions onboarding, that very first experience a new user has. Research played a big role there, too.
How did they use research for onboarding?
By tracking where new users tended to get stuck or maybe even give up during the initial setup process, this helped them pinpoint the tricky parts and then personalize the whole onboarding sequence.
Personalize it based on.
Things like the user's company size, maybe their industry, or the main goals they said they had when signing up for Mailchimp.
Ah, that's smart. Because someone selling freelance services needs a very different starting point than, say, an online store with products.
Totally different needs, yeah. So their response included creating tailored welcome emails, goal-specific setup checklists, and targeted guided tours within the platform. The whole idea was to help new users get comfortable and achieve something valuable quickly.
Get that first win fast, feel confident,
Exactly. And crucially, they built feedback loops into that onboarding.
to keep improving it.
Yes!
Yeah.
Getting that feedback right at the start allowed them to continuously refine the process. The article notes this directly helped improve user retention and satisfaction. It just reinforces that whole cycle. Research, build, get feedback, refine again.
Okay, so we've seen how research helped Mailchimp tackle current problems, build relevant features, and improve support. But what about looking further out? Did it help them anticipate what was coming next? Future trends?
Definitely. That's a sign of strategic research use, right?
Yeah.
The article points out that Mailchimp keeps investing significantly in foresight. They're analyzing global marketing reports, keeping tabs on industry forums and discussions, even using predictive modeling to try and spot shifts early.
So what kind of future trends did this research help them prepare for, according to the source?
It gives a few good examples. One major one was the growing global focus on data privacy, regulations like GDPR in Europe and CCPA in California.
Yeah, that's become huge for any platform handling customer information.
Massive. And because their research flagged this early, Mailchimp was able to proactively build better privacy controls and features into the platform. They gave users more control over customer data, sometimes even before the regulations fully came into effect.
So using research to stay ahead of regulatory and ethical curves. Smart. What else?
Another big one was the increasing role of AI and machine learning in marketing, especially for marketers who maybe don't have a ton of time or deep technical expertise.
Right, AI has exploded.
Mhm.
How did Mailchimp apply that insight?
Their research into this trend led them to integrate AI features specifically designed to help their core SMB users. Things like suggesting the best time to send an email for maximum
Oh, the
opens.
smart send times, yeah.
Exactly. Or AI helping generate content ideas or subject lines, and using predictive analytics to help users target the most promising audience segments. It's about leveraging powerful tech to simplify things for non-experts.
Again, connecting back to that earlier insight about users maybe not having formal marketing training. Using AI to bridge that gap.
Precisely. And one more trend the article mentions is the rising demand for true omnichannel personalization.
Meaning?
Meaning marketers wanting to track customer interactions across email, website visits, social media, etc., and then adapt their messaging based on that holistic view of the customer's behavior.
So research pushed them to develop tools that enable that kind of cross-channel tracking and personalized response within Mailchimp itself.
That's the idea. It's all about using research not just to solve today's issues, but to figure out where marketing is heading and make sure they have the tools their users will need tomorrow.
This has been a really great breakdown of how research fueled such a significant transformation. And the article wraps up with a kind of big picture view, right? A fast fact that really drives home the scale of it all.
Yeah, it highlights that journey from a focused email tool to this comprehensive integrated marketing platform that now serves, get this, over 15 million users globally.
15 million users. That is incredible growth. And the source is really clear. This didn't just happen by chance.
Not at all. The article explicitly states that this whole evolution underscores how making decisions driven by ongoing research helps companies anticipate market shifts, truly meet the diverse needs of their users, and ultimately lead in a very competitive digital landscape.
So the fundamental takeaway from the source is that this continuous process of listening, learning through research, and adapting based on those insights, that was absolutely key to Mailchimp's relevance and success over the long haul.
That really is the bottom line, a powerful lesson for anyone building a business or product today.
Absolutely. And that leads us perfectly into our final thought for you, the listener, to chew on based on this deep dive. If a company like Mailchimp managed to grow from a simple tool to this massive platform, primarily by constantly digging deep to understand its small business users, not just their obvious need for email, but the underlying frustrations and complexities of their entire marketing world, what does that suggest about how crucial detailed user research and forward-looking insight are for your own projects or business ambitions? How can you apply that lesson of looking beyond the surface request to uncover the real, sometimes unspoken challenges that the people you're trying to serve are actually facing?